appear to be live. Check myself. Oh, yeah, Mike can hear me. Alright. Cool. I'm not really going to wait for people to jump in because it's Monday night and nobody might be watching anyway. But I've been inspired recently to give a slight update on our camper situation. Let me block this field goal real quick. Let me foul the kicker. Penalty. Great. Love that. Alright, so yeah, I wrote myself a little script here again, so I don't ramble nonsense for 30 minutes, but I'll try to keep it under 10. So the last update we gave you guys was in March, and we were in Dillsburg visiting. We were coming home from Arizona, and we were headed to New York for the next contract. The plan at that point in time, or shortly before that, was to come home, visit for a little while over the Easter break, head to New York into Rochester. Once we were in Rochester, she'd work that contract, and then the plan was to come home and then take a contract in the central Pennsylvania area for like July, August, September-ish area, and then head back out on another contract in somewhere warmer in the winter. So like October, November, December, we would have left again and went like Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, something like that. So, yeah, this feels, the best way I can describe it is I keep reminding myself of Super Bowl 48 whenever Super Bowl 50 is where the Broncos beat the Panthers and they retired Cam Newton and everything was fantastic. Life was great. Super Bowl 48 was the one where we had the super record-breaking season. Everything was going right. Peyton Manning was in town. Tim Tebow mania was over. Everything was going perfect. We should have won that Super Bowl. And the opening snap hits Peyton Manning in the face. And there's that stupid meme of him clapping his hands and it hitting him right in the face. And we lost, I believe, 44-8. And so it was like one of the most embarrassing things. But we made it to the big game. As much as in my life is not the NFL, that's like the biggest thing that I can continuously compare our current situation to, is that we made it to the big game. We got to travel, and it just absolutely kicked us in the teeth. We decided to go out, do our thing, and like we're super grateful for it. We're like the experience was awesome, I guess, and like we had fun for the most part. But like ultimately, everything is just so goddamn expensive right now, and being on the road limits my working ability. I can't Uber in other states, so like our plan of me working Uber immediately got foiled. So it's like, all right, everything's more expensive. We're spending nearly as much as we are on the road between truck, camper, campground, and then like the fuel that goes with it, food costs, things like that. General bills, of course, but like we were assuming that we could cut back on it a little bit or somehow that it would be back. So it was like, all right, we're going to travel, we're going to lose a little, but it'll be all right. And then we get out there, we're just kind of evaluating it while we're in Arizona. And we told ourselves we would give ourselves 6 months. We were like, all right, we'll give ourselves 6 months, we'll see how it goes. And then we'll go from there. But like, that's why we didn't want to sell all of our furniture for super cheap. We didn't want to give a lot of stuff away. We did give a ton of stuff away, but like for the most part, we wanted to get like, we priced our used items high because we were like, we're not taking a huge loss on it. If somebody wants to buy it basically brand new, like fine. That way we take a little loss. Otherwise, we're just going to pay for the storage unit. But we mathematically sat and decided that like roughly 6 months would be about how long we wanted to do it. We were in Arizona, and Kaylee, she just like we were on the same page with it, like it for many factors, but I kept checking in with her where I was like, we still good, like still camping, and she was like, hell yeah, like I'm looking at contracts in Florida, and we're gonna go here next, and we're in Arizona at this point, and like we're looking all over the place. It's freezing cold, so we're still waiting for it to like warm up and like vacation to start and the RV life to start camping, start like doing the fun stuff. And it really at this point has just been like work and travel and loading up and breaking down camper and issues with the camper and the cats and the dogs, just like chaos. So we were like waiting for the fun to start, even though we were experiencing things on the road, but like it just wasn't all we thought it was going to be. And then to mention that we're basically bleeding ourselves financially to be on the road. So then it comes this question of like, okay, well, are we going to retire or are we going to keep traveling for a few years? And so it's like, all right, this is crazy. Like probably best to head home, but like we're still kind of figuring it out. So I kept checking in with her. I was like, all right, how are we doing? Yeah, dude, freezing cold in Arizona. Something that they don't teach you about. You assume it's a desert and it's a shithole everywhere. Like Arizona as a square, bottom left is Phoenix, hot as hell, Tucson, all that area. Everything north and like top to the right is elevated so high. We got to Prescott, Arizona, which is like an hour north of Phoenix. And I'm talking like 40 to 50-degree potential snow, raining, sleety, like shit weather, gray, mushy, just absolute shit. Can't get out of our campground, like just unless I'm taking the truck, just like absolute shit weather. You can drive an hour south and be in Phoenix and it'd be 75 and sunny. It would, like, I couldn't even explain it to anybody back home, but it'd be like being in Mechanicsburg and it being cold and be like, you know what, I'm gonna run to Baltimore today. And not even like Lancaster. Like, you could drive to Lancaster and the weather changes by like nearly 20 degrees because it's like 2,000 feet of elevation. So it was little silly shit like that that we didn't know. We were rookies in that, where we were like, oh, Arizona, all desert, all hot, all beautiful, gonna be great. We get to northern Arizona and have to spend 3 months there. So every day I'm driving back and forth to Phoenix to try to find fun shit to do. So yeah, so it's little things like that where it was like, dude, like being freezing cold in Arizona sucked. Like that was not one we were expecting. And then so like yeah, so like that sucks. But anyway, so every day I'm asking her, I'm like, do we still want to do this? Like we're rocking and rolling. She's like, yeah, I want to get to Florida. Like I want to have some fun contracts. The summer's about to start. Like everything's good. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna hang up the security cameras today. She's like, yeah, go for it. Good, sounds good. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like the next day, I was like, are we still good? You still doing this? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna start like finalizing this, and I'm gonna sort the truck, and I'm gonna do this. Like we were really kind of breaking things in and getting ready for the long haul of camping. That was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I had asked her like as a joke, like 3 days in a row, like, are you sure like we're still on board for this? Like we're rocking and rolling. She was like, yeah, like let's just see how long it goes. I do some final stuff, hang up cameras, like get some final things ready to go. And then on Saturday she goes to work and I can just tell that there's like a mood shift and I'm like, what is going on? And it was the homesick feeling kicking in, which like I also had too. Like I miss being around the area that I know, like my sister and friends and stuff like that. So like I felt for her in that aspect, and then like on top of it, that like it wasn't as fun as we thought it was gonna be. It was way more expensive than we thought it was gonna be. It just like every little detail that could have went wrong, pretty much went wrong for us. So her contract for New York ended on June 29th. So when we left from Dillsburg on Easter in March, we pretty much knew that this was all but done. We just had to like go through the logistics of like selling the camper, getting home, like getting everything figured out. We go to So June 29th is one day shy of 6 months. We joked around and told ourselves like, hey, we're gonna give ourselves 6 months to figure this out. We left on December 30th. That was the day. That was our maiden voyage. We left on December 30th. Was heading down toward North Carolina. Stayed there for a night. Stayed in Jacksonville for a night for New Year's, and then was in southwestern Florida, like a little bit above Fort Myers, for like 2 weeks before heading out west to Arizona. So during that time, we were like, oh, it'll be 6 months. Like that's like roughly how long we'll give it. It was one day shy of 6 months when we decided like, okay, this is all done. Heard when that contract ends, we're gonna head home, take a contract at home, and just stay home. We might be in the camper, we might not. Maybe we'll find a rental. We didn't know what we were gonna do, but we knew that like camper life was coming to a close, or at least being on the road was coming to a close. So then that's why you really haven't heard from me in the last 2 or 3 months, because it has been just an absolute fucking nightmare. Every single step of the way of just trying to get back to like normal life has just every single spot has kicked us while we were down. We get to Rochester. First of all, Rochester, they people there told us, we didn't know when we got there. We joked around with somebody in the campground because we were there for like 2 weeks. When we first get there, it rained every day, like 70 degrees and raining every day. Did not know that, but the people there were like, oh yeah, this is Seattle Junior, didn't you know? Like it rains here every day because of Lake Ontario, all the precipitation, blah blah blah. It'll rain pretty much every day or every other. And I was like, okay, well, that's miserable. So now we went from freezing Arizona, which we didn't know, to northern New York, which when you Google it just looks like mountains and hiking and all that shit, but it rains every day. They don't really mention that part. So we were like, okay, let's just fight through this and get home. So we've been in pretty much let's just get home mode for like 2 or 3 months. Like as soon as like we got to Rochester, it was like let's just unpack enough to get home. Like it was like we were in the camper still getting to Rochester, but knew that like it was coming to a close and we had to figure out how to get rid of the camper. So we were like, okay, well, probably the best bet would be to, when she comes home, the contract ends last week of June, we'll come home in July, we'll just do the camper and everything then. And then we were like, yeah, but like the logistics of that could get kind of crazy if we wait until then. What if it doesn't sell? What happens? Like, where do we go in that meantime? Like, should we sell it ahead of time? Let's do all of our research. Let's get all of our, all the ducks in a row to make sure that like this goes smoothly. even when we built the house, we waited until we didn't have to have a contingent offer on selling our house so that there was no middle ground. We wouldn't have to go to a hotel or a family or a friend or anything with the dogs, cats, kids. Like we could just go from one spot to the next on our own terms with no, hey, you got to be out by 2 p.m. today. Like we had complete free reign to leave our old house and had like a week or two that we technically had before having to be out of it. And so we essentially wanted to do that again. Like we wanted nice, comfortable cushion to get out of the camper and back into a house or whatever. And so, like, some of you follow me on Snap, so you've had some sneak peeks of this. You saw the empty camper and you saw my desk set up and things like that. But so ultimately, we get through Rochester. I check I wrote my notes. Hold on. Update. Da 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 da. Dillsburg. Yep. Do you still want to go? Permanent. I'm going to do permanent shit. Yeah, she got homesick. And then, so yeah, so 1 day shy of 6 months. We struggled through there. And then, so yeah, so it's May now at this point. So Joe's birthday is May 4th. So Rand comes up to Rochester. She's hanging out with Mac for the weekend while Kaylee and I take Joe to Erie to a water park. And we are on our way home. And like, I think we came home a day early or something, however it lined up. But like, Rand was supposed to be there until Monday. And Rand was supposed to be there until Monday, I believe. And we were coming home Sunday for Joe's birthday. We left Friday afternoon. We're going to come home Sunday. So we were leaving Sunday morning, and her and I are bullshitting on the way home and like while on vacation, like with Joe hanging out. And we were like, well, what if we sold the camper this weekend? Like, let's call and like do the research. Like, what if we sell it now and just like rent a house in New York? And then now when we move back, like it's just house to house to house instead of camper or hotel or whatever else. And so we are like, let's do all our research and figure this all out. So make all my calls, do all my research. I call Camping Road in Harrisburg. Do not ever step foot in that building. If you want to buy a camper, please, for the love of God, don't ever go to a camping road. I thought I was better than all the advice and was like, I can handle myself. It's not even about you handling yourself. It's the incompetence of a corporation that's too large and just keeps buying extra dealerships to just monopolize the market. It is a fucking shit show. And like, if you know somebody at Camping Road in Harrisburg, tag them in this. Dylan, the fucking purchasing manager, the GM will reach out, everything, start to finish. Like, it's a shit show in there. I got receipts and everything, so anybody can fucking step up. This is another Best Buy Kenny situation. M&T is tied into this too, so yeah, it's another one where I'd be happy to hear their side of the story, making me look bad on this because it's been a shit show. So I go to Camping Road, get that all squared away. I'm like, how does this work? You give us the offer, this and this, and they're like, well, technically, like when we give you the offer, the camper should be empty because like you can't leave the property once you have the offer, otherwise the offer's not good, blah blah blah. And so we were like, okay, so we got to show up with an empty camper to get the quote. They won't even give us, like, they're giving me a ballpark number, and so we already, like, we're sick to our stomach on how much we're going to lose on it. And, like, it is what it is. It's basically closing costs on the house again. So we paid closing costs selling our house, buying our house, building our house, selling our house, buying the camper, selling the camper. Like, we have just lost in each little way here a good chunk of change. And so this was the last one where we were like, all right, we had our fun, we made our mistakes, like we built a house, that was dumb, didn't want to do that, we wanted more land, knew that, didn't want to do that, so fuck it, let's traveled, way too expensive, so now we're like, alright, like let's just fucking go home, figure out what to do next, let's get back to the idea of building like a farm type deal, having some land, having some kids, having like spots for the kids and shit as they get older if they want it, if not, oh well, like that kind of thing. That was the original plan. So we are coming home from Joe's birthday, and her and I are just bullshitting. And again, Rand's like, "Hey, make sure you're home decent time on Sunday. I want to see Joe for his birthday." And then, Monday I'm leaving early, so I won't get to see him that much. Like it is his birthday, but we have this thing tradition where she hangs out with the opposite kid on the birthday, so me and Kaylee can take the other kid out and hang out. So Rand was in Rochester, hanging out with Mackie, chilling, having the best time of their life. When you have two kids, one kid is easy. When you have three, two, like no matter what, when you're down a kid, it's the easiest thing in the world. It's insane. It's like not even having any kids with you. Um, and so we are on the way home. It's quiet because there's only one kid, so Kayla and I have time to actually talk like two adults. And so we're like, what if we sold the camper this weekend? So call Camping Road, get that all squared away. They need the camper empty for the official quote, but if it's empty, that means all of our stuff has to be out of it. Typically, they have people bring it in, get the quote, and then come in and empty the camper. But that's part-time people that have just a handful of stuff in the camper. We have full-time living shit in the camper, so we're talking like a half a U-Haul worth of shit in the camper. So I am Gunnar, I totally missed your thing with Great Mountains Elk Hunt. I should have been hunting more, but it was just like we were so like strapped for time and everything, like with me being out there and the weather and shit, like having two little ones, like I couldn't even have just been like, hey guys, let's go hiking for the day. Like we hiked a couple of times and that was pretty much all we were able to do because it was so cold. So then everything becomes pay to play, and so it was like now this is so expensive. Like we're going to Get Air or Sky Zone or whatever you want to call Monkey Joe's or whatever every day, and it's like this sucks too. And so yeah, it kind of backfired in that aspect. But I mean, driving to Phoenix every day was fucking sweet. Like I'm not gonna lie, that was cool. Like I would just bounce around different parks and all kinds of shit like that. But yeah, I definitely. It's funny you say that too, because I just reached out to Travis Hench earlier about like teaching me to hunt, because I was like, I need somebody local that like knows shit, and I want to start learning. So anybody that has any hunting tips, I'm all ears. I just want to start and learn because of the farm and having some land. I just need to know basics, and I know nothing about it. So anyway, so I call Camping World, get that all squared away. So with our situation, we were like, how do we get the camper empty and into Camping World to sell it? With the final quote, like, so there were some real logistical nightmares there, and then so our loan for the campers through M&T Bank, another fucking shit show. If you ever have the option, don't use M&T Bank. Oh my god, my grandmother had M&T Bank back in the day, and I remember it being a nightmare when we sat down at the table and they were like, you got approved through M&T Bank, blah blah blah, and I literally sat there and I was like, that was like 10, 15 years ago. Like, what are the chances they're still an absolute garbage can dealing with operations? Pretty goddamn certain that they're still a garbage can dealing with operations. We call into them, and I speak with like one of the. I call into the call center, and I'm like, hey, it's technically considered a short sale, is what they call it. So like we owe more on the camper than what it's worth. We didn't want to pay it in cash. We were like, fuck it, just turn it into a loan. We'll pay the remainder. Most people would walk in with cash and pay the difference, or go get a personal loan or whatever. And we were like, we don't, like, make it simple. Let Camping World write you the check, convert the remainder of our loan into a personal loan. We'll pay that. Everybody goes home happy. Send Camping World the title. There's no more RV loan. It becomes a personal loan for us. Camping World pays their part. They get the title. Everybody goes home happy. So she was like, yep, that's how it works. It's considered a short sale. Immediately I heard the word short sale, and in real estate terms, that's like a red flag. It means you went bankrupt on your home. You owe 200,000. It's only worth 50. You got to sell it. The bank deals with the other negative equity, and you're kind of fucked. We're trying to buy another house, so we call our lender and Brandon right away, and we're like, is this going to fuck us? And they were like, I don't know, get more details, because technically a short sale is bad, but with it being an auto loan, it might just be a terminology thing, you're fine. So I call back to M&T, and I'm like, hey, here's the situation, and they're like, okay, cool, you're going to deal with Tony. And I was like, M&T is a pretty goddamn big bank. They're telling me there's one guy that's going to deal with this. Like, working at Members First, like, they would have had a team. Like, there's a queue. Like, there's a handful of people. Even if it's only two people, there's two people and a supervisor and then another department that has access to that email. So if somebody sends something in, you're not sending it to Dane at consumerlending.com or whatever. You're sending it to consumerlending@bank.com so that everybody can see it and somebody can respond. Once you get linked up with somebody, maybe you're one-on-one, but typically it's like a queue. So right away, I'm like, this is fucking so weird. She's like, yeah, you got to call this number. It's Tony. And I'm like, who the fuck's Tony? Call Tony. He's the one that deals with all the short sales. He'll get you hooked up. Call Tony. Play phone tag with him for 2 or 3 days. Not another red flag. Finally get a voicemail from Tony saying, hey, I don't know why they had you call me. I only deal with real estate short sales. You want to call Latoya. She's the only one that deals with auto loan real short sales. And I'm like, great. Can't wait. Call Latoya. I'm like, hey, in my super polite, overly customer service self, because I'm new and I'm like, I was like, I don't want to step on any toes. I want to do this all the right way. We don't want to be stuck. What do I do? Basically, with the rudest tone ever, she explains that we have to get a letter from them and fax it in and do this and do that. Like the most archaic shit ever. It was so old and dumb. Like it had to be faxed, it couldn't be emailed. No. It was her personal email, not a queue. And so I knew this was gonna be a shit show from the start. So, with her rude ass tone, explained to me how to do everything, and I was like, okay. And she's like, typically it's 3 to 5 days, but sometimes the title won't get sent for up to 10 days, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, look, I can be in a hotel for 3 to 5 days, but that's kind of crazy. So like, let's make sure that we're on par here. Like that's all it's gonna take. And she was like, yeah. It gets to me, I escalate it, they approve it, and da 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 da. We have you sign all the paperwork, we'll fax it over. And I was like, the moment you send it to us, we're printing it, signing it, sending it back. So as long as you guys are on your game, we're ready to go. 3 to 5 days, no problem. 10 for the title. I was like, okay, cool. We're not waiting for the title. As long as we get our first couple of days of shit handled, we're good. We're out of there. So we go to. This is all. There's so much more to it too, and I'm not even gonna dive into it because M&T deserves their own update in Camping World too. But again, Camping World Harrisburg shit. M&T shit. Camping World in general, honestly, but Camping World Harrisburg specifically, don't even bother. But so M&T is like, hey, 3 to 5 days. This is May 5th, May 4th, May 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever. Like first week of May, after Joe's birthday, that weekend we come home. we're like, hey, the plan is, the most logical plan we have is trust that they're going to sell the camper. They're going to give us a reasonable price for it. M&T is going to do the right thing. Everything's going to go smoothly. We, even worst case scenario, could be in this hotel for 5 or 6 days. Let's just do it. Fuck it. It's May. It's not July, so it's not hot as hell. Thank God we did that. We were like, hey, you know what? It's May. Let's just see what happens. If can we find a place to live in New York for the rest of the contract until June? Can we sell the camper? And it like, is it all possible to happen at once? So we were like, all right, let's just do it. So on the way home, I call Rand. I'm like, hey, instead of hanging out with Mac and Joe for the next day or so, you're actually going to help us pack up the camper. We're leaving tonight, heading home to Pennsylvania, unloading the camper into a storage unit, and then going to a hotel and like going to like Camping World in Harrisburg, dropping the camper off and all that shit. So I orchestrated all of this. We leave, get down to Pennsylvania on Sunday night. Went to one hotel that didn't tell us that they had $100 per pet fee for the night, and so we had to stay for like 3 nights. And I was like, I'm not giving you guys another $600 for the night on top of what we already reserved when you didn't have that online. So like, it was a shit show there. So we were like, all right, you know what, fuck it. If everybody can handle it, let's just pack up now and go straight home. Decided against that. Woke up first thing Monday morning, drove down. I think that's how that worked out. Anyway, we get to Pennsylvania. We get the camper unloaded into the storage unit. We take this camper to the Camping World after hours, park it, I believe, unless we were there the next morning. I don't even remember, honestly. No, we got there because we had an appointment. So we unloaded the camper into the storage unit all day Monday. We had an appointment at like 3 p.m. to get to Camping World in Harrisburg. So we unloaded the whole camper into a storage unit, me, Rand, and Kaylee, except for like kitchen stuff because we were like, oh, that'll be easy to unload later, which was also fucking stupid. So we go into storage unit, empty the camper, take the camper down. Now we're in a hotel in Carlisle right before car show weekend with 2 cats, 2 kids, 2 dogs, me and Kaylee and Rand visiting. Kaylee has like a couple of days off work. So we're like, all right, let's see if we can make this happen and get the camper sold. Should be no problem. We're going to go into Camping World Monday, 3 p.m. is the appointment. It takes like an hour or two. We were in and out in 45 minutes. They gave us our quote. Everything was cool. We were like, send it through to M&T Monday afternoon. Gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, okay, Tuesday's day one, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. Might be in this hotel until Monday. Worst case scenario. And again, kids, cats, dogs, like we're talking litter box, food, everything. It's crazy being in a tight hotel with your whole family. Holy shit. When you have the means to do something else, but you're just waiting on them to tell you what to do. Because we didn't want to rent the house and go start moving into a house if if Camping World was going to be like, no, fuck off. Or if M&T would have been like, no, fuck off, we're not paying like the short sale, then now we got to pay cash for that. So we don't really want to rent a house. We might end up staying in the camper. So there's this whole like back and forth while we're just stuck in a hotel. Calling back and forth to M&T. Latoya has the most PTO of anybody I've ever seen in my entire life. She has like 3 or 4 days off every week. I don't think she works Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, or Friday mornings. Called in nonstop, could not get a hold of her. Finally get a hold of other people to transfer me to her, still can't get a hold of her. She calls back on like Thursday and is like, we don't have anything. Camping World didn't say anything. I was sitting there when they sent it. He handed me the fax confirmation, like, what more do you want? Couldn't get it because we had to get it all resent. I had to call Camping World, get all the paperwork resent, and I call back, can't get any verification until Monday. Finally hear from her Monday, and she's like, maybe even Monday, I don't even know the dates, I don't have it all written down, I have to go back through emails and shit to figure it out, but finally M&T is like, okay, we received the paperwork, I gotta escalate it to upper management, they'll approve the amount or not, and what your personal loan amount will be, and then we'll let you know. And I was like, okay, cool, just keep in mind, I'm in a hotel here, hurry up. We're already on the 5th day at this point. Like, we're already on day 5, and now you guys just got the paperwork, essentially. So now I'm looking at another week in the hotel, and now Kaylee's got to go back to work in Rochester. So now, do we take the whole circus back to Rochester? And Camping World and M&T could call it any second and be like, hey, good to go. Here's your keys, whatever. Here's your check, blah, 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 blah. Or they could call and say, fuck off, come get your shit. Or they could take 5 more days, and we take the whole circus home, and then I come. Like, there was so much unknown in this whole last like 2 months, 3 months really. And so we are just waiting. And so Kaylee, after the first week, Kaylee was like, well, I gotta go back to work. So Kaylee decides to go back to New York, take the cats with her. She goes and gets another hotel room. So she's staying in a hotel with cats. I'm in a hotel in Carlisle with kids, cats, dogs, or with kids and dogs. And then we go to we wait that next week. We're calling back and forth to M&T 1,000 times. We asked Camping World 100 times to call and can't call on our behalf. All that bullshit. Like, they wouldn't even bother. And I was like, okay, well, you guys, like, now you have a camper sitting in your parking lot you can't do anything with because you're not going to get the title. We don't know what's going on with it. It's just sitting there. Like, can you help us? Help you? Help me? Help us? Like, come, please. I get so frustrated thinking about dealing with Camping World and M&T. Oh my God, I promised myself I wouldn't go into detail. I didn't have any of this written down. I was just rambling now. I knew that was going to happen. So, Camping World won't call. So I'm finally getting a hold of M&T. Finally get a hold of M&T. And we are talking thousands and thousands of dollars that we owe on this thing. But we were like, it is what it is. It's basically the closing cost. Bite the bullet, be done with it. Camping World calls back after like 7 or 8 days of delay and is like, yeah, you're like $900 off. This is like a $90,000 camper. We owe a ton on it. Camping World offered us a ton. There's still a chunk, and they're like, you're like $981 off. Management won't approve it unless it's this. Which, let me back up. One of the first things I asked when I was doing my research, I said, what does the short sale entail? How do you know what the approval process is? Is there like an algorithm or a certain loan to value ratio, or what are you looking for? And she said, we can't discuss that. It goes to management, and then they just approve it. I said, so I just have to submit you an offer from Camping World. You guys review it all and then come back to us and let us know. But there's no concrete number. We don't have to have a certain percentage or meet a certain threshold or credit or anything like that. And she was like, no, it's all case by case. And I was like, all right, cool, sounds good. Calls back, says, hey, you're like $900 and some off. Oh, by the way, they couldn't find the VIN for the camper because it's too new. So we had to go by old sales data, and we just use an algorithm to determine what percentage you would owe, and you're $981 short. So now we're 12 days in or whatever, 10 days in, whatever the fuck. Could have just told me from day one that the algorithm was there. When I went to Camping World and they gave me my offer, I would have said, M&T is going to deny that, give me $981 more, or I will give you $981, put that on the offer so that M&T doesn't deny us for this short sale, and everybody goes home. No one wanted to tell me that throughout the process. Again, I asked those questions, I do that research. No one said shit. No algorithm, can't tell you, it's got to get approved from upper management. Comes back down, can't approve, can't find the VIN. We just went by an algorithm. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not absolutely about to lose my fucking shit. Let's just woosah through this. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to take cash into a branch. Right now I'm in Carlisle. Can't do that. I can't verify cash at a branch. You work at M&T. I'm going into the branch. I understand not verifying like a check or whatever, like cash. You can't verify cash money. I was so dumbfounded. And she said, well, if they call me, they might not get through, and then there's no way for me to verify while you're there in the branch. And I said, cool, well, I have you on the line. I'm about to run to the branch right now with cash, $982. I'll give it to him right now. And she said, no, I can't do that. I'm not going to wait on the phone. And I said, oh, you absolutely are going to wait on the phone because I'm not being belligerent and I'm not disrespecting you and I'm not yelling. I just have a few more questions about the loan. And she went talking over me, was like, I'm not going to talk over this with you. You need to mail it in. You got to fax it. You fax that check to us and then we send you a letter and then you sign it and mail it back. Like it was going to delay now another week or two after already being in delayed for like 12 days because M&T fucking sucks. I was like losing my shit, but was like, nope, stay calm because she can hang up. So I, as calmly as possible, was like, no, okay, Latoya, I just have a couple of questions. Can you just explain to me what M&T's mission statement is? I just wanted to know just for like basis knowledge. Immediately fucking hung up on me. I was like beside myself about to just fucking pass away. I could not believe she hung up on me. And I called in for hours trying to find out who her supervisor is or how to get a hold of her. No one could even tell me what department she worked for or any. Like, M&T is so fucking discombobulated. It is unreal. Like, went to the branch and they were like, we don't know how to find her. Googled her name in their little system and read me the number that I have, which feels like a cell phone. It's like a work cell phone. I'm pretty sure she has like no management, takes days off, watches TikTok all day. Like, it just feels like someone that has taken advantage of a work from home job. And I was just from the start was like, please don't fuck me. I'm in a hotel. I'm being so polite. Please just make this go through as fast as possible without stepping on any toes. I'll do whatever's needed. And every single person along the way, Camping World and M&T, just fucking dropped the ball and made our life so much harder being back and forth between New York and Pennsylvania in a hotel. What hotel are we going to go to? Car show weekend was coming in, so the hotel we were in Carlisle wasn't available. We had to move hotels and then move back to that hotel. The morning that Kaylee was gone, the fucking Carlisle hotel we were in had a fire alarm because the laundry thing caught on fire. Butt ass naked in the shower. 2 little boys, 2 grown pipples, one doesn't like people. I gotta get out of the shower to the fire alarm, pop my head out the window, covered in smoke on the first floor already, get back inside and go, holy fucking shit, boys are in their underwear. We like all just woke up and are dicking around. I was like, everybody fucking go. Didn't mean to panic the boys. I was like, guys, I need you to use your Crocs and your shoes on. I'm trying to get the dogs leashed up, knowing that if there's people in the hallway, like, Luna's gonna fucking nip at somebody because she just doesn't like people in close spaces and being on a leash and shit. So, like, so much panic mode. And I'm already pissed off at M&T. And, dude, I was fucking ready to rage that day. So I got kids and dogs out of the camper. We're outside chilling in the parking lot. It's like 1,000,000 degrees in May. And that, like, hot weekend that we had. Finally get back inside. Can't even remember. So yeah, so we had Camping World, M&T, Joe's birthday, Camping Home, ran. I got Eaton Park on the way home from Erie back to Rochester. Stopped at Eaton Park up there somewhere and got some cookies. That was a delightful little treat for myself. While we were doing all of this, Kaylee is now transitioning from not working travel nursing anymore because it just all got like real chaotic. She kind of hated being the new person everywhere she went. Rates are going down, so it doesn't make as much sense to do it anymore. And so there was just like a lot of factors that played into it. So I don't want to do too much detail on that because I haven't talked to her about it, but she has a new place of employment, still in healthcare and all that good stuff, but she definitely has transitioned out of travel nursing. And so that's what kind of was part of the catalyst for all this as well. Um, but yeah, so Kaylee in New York with the cats. We were back to Carlisle, back and forth to New York. And then, yeah, so fire alarm goes off. We still have heard nothing at this point. We're talking to everybody and everything's just submitted, but no one knows anything. No one can get a hold of Latoya. She hung up on me. I don't know if I would break the phone if I talked to her again. I can't find her supervisor. I tried emailing exactly. Like, I got like 9 executive emails just from searching through like LinkedIn and like Google and shit like that. Like found like a bunch of high, just like I did with Best Buy, sent out that email, and of course someone somewhere is like, did you see that shit this morning? And then someone's got to respond because I tagged everybody's boss. And so I got that cooking. This is going to get verbalized at some point because M&T has just, that was blown away. So after all of that, I'm talking shit on M&T at this point with Camping Road because Camping Road really hasn't fucked anything up at this point. I'm talking shit on M&T this whole time, and I'm like, they're fucking incompetent. They're like, yeah, I know, we've dealt with this person before, specifically Latoya. It's a shit show, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool, you guys feel me. Asked them like 3 times if they sent in this paper that like attaches the wire to our loan because they don't have the competence to say, oh, okay, that came from here. Let's put those two together. And I know how wires work. It gets tricky, whatever. But like, there's ways to fucking do it. That team doesn't talk to Latoya. That team won't talk to customers. We have to call Latoya to call somebody else to call the wire team to get the information emailed to Latoya, and then she'll forward it to. It was a fucking nightmare. And at this point, I can't talk to her anymore because I'll fucking lose my mind. So now Kaylee has to take over calls, and she typically doesn't do this kind of shit. So she's now like calling back and forth and then telling me the updates about it while I talk to Camping World. I'm bitching about M&T for like a week to Camping World. I'm like, you guys sent this right? And they're like, yeah, it did. Whatever didn't happen. We overnighted this now. We had to send this form in. It's all good. It's been overnighted. I'm like, all right, cool. Like a week later. Are you sure that that got sent? They still didn't get it. Can you send it again? Okay, I'll go check on it. Camping World was like, oh, we just didn't send it. Our bad. It would probably just didn't get sent. And I was like, yeah, dude, that Dylan, that's not going to work. Like, probably is not going to be okay with me. I need to know what happened. I was like, you texted me last Thursday and said it just was overnighted. Like, you told me it's been overnighted. And now the following 9 days on like a Tuesday, he was like, oh, our bad. It probably didn't get sent. I was like, dude, I've been in a hotel for now 20 some, like, it was a fucking nightmare. So during that whole stretch, at some point, we just were like, okay, it feels like as much as they're torturing us hostile style, this is gonna get done. Everything should be fine. The $981 we fucking chiseled it in on a rock and put it on a pigeon and sent it into Antarctica to get dug up later and then mailed back to M&T because that's what they require. So we got all of that done. Blood from the firstborn, everything. Got it all sent and we're like, okay, you know what? So now everything should be fine. Let's just rock and roll. Let's go forward with finding a house. Let's move back to New York and get shit situated. I was working at Wegmans overnight at that point. That's why my Facebook post about anybody working at Wegmans, because I was going to transition down to the one here in Mechanicsburg, and plans just kind of changed. But I was working overnight, and overnight sucks. That was the only thing that I could do up there because I don't have a babysitter because it was just me and Kaylee. So I was working overnight, and then she was leaving in the morning. So it was a nightmare for the last few weeks as well. Couldn't play Xbox, couldn't get sleep. I would work all night, come home, sleep for like 2 or 3 hours, wake up, have the boys, take a nap with them for like an hour or two, wake up, and then go to work later in the night. So it was just a shit show. So like even I could not wait to just be back to Carlisle for once. I was like, just get me the fuck home at this point. So we were like, you know what? It's probably gonna sell. Let's go to New York. Let's run a house. So we find one on Furnish Finder. We get up there. It's tolerable. We're like, let's just make this work. We got it for like 2 months now. It was just May. It was May and June basically because this is like the third week in June that or May that we even got back there. We just got to make it to June 29th. So that whole 5 weeks was literally just like unpacking, but not unpacking too much. Still trying to live our life, take the boys to go do some stuff and hang out. We went to Lake Ontario a ton and like a bunch of hiking spots up there. So like we had some fun, but like for the most part, there's a place called the Strong Museum up there. I looked it up. I think there's one in Philly or something similar to it. But the Strong Museum is like, it takes you like 4 hours to get through, and it is like the playground of all playgrounds of museums for kids. Like it's all kinds of shit. They have things like you hit the buttons and the ball goes up through like a whole ass tunnel. They have like play areas, playgrounds, sand pits, ball pits, learning things, virtual reality. I put again my Snap story had a bunch of it, but it was like those giant video games on like 100-inch screens. You're playing in front of other people. Like I played Mario on like this mega screen. It was sick. So yeah, I don't know if we have anything like that here, but that was like one of the coolest parts of Rochester. I also got a garbage plate, which was a food recommendation from a few of you when I posted this last time that I was going to Rochester. I got one day for lunch. It was so good. I went back for dinner that same day because I wasn't sure that we were going to get another one the next day before we left. I got it the day before we left, and I was like, I think tomorrow schedule's going to be too tight, and I don't want to try to cram it in. I want to get it for dinner again tonight. And Kaylee was like, I don't even want that, so just go. And I was like, I'm going to get it. So I got it 2 times in one day, and it was so damn good. So Nick's Hots is what I think it's called. Nick's Tahoe Hots or something like that. But it's in Rochester. It's so fucking good. But yeah, so we get to New York. We're in Rochester now. We're like, let's just get through this as fast as possible, and then we'll get home, and then figure out what's next. And so now we are still like in this weird frame of, is the camper done? So every day we're signing an M&T and it still says RV loan, still says RV loan. Hey, any update, nothing. M&T and camper boat are both radio silence. I've yelled at both of them and no one will talk to me now. So Kaylee's trying to manhandle conversations and it's just like no one's updating us on anything. Basically, finally, one day, like 2 weeks ago, Kaylee signs in and the loan's been converted. 3 to 5 business days, my ass. I asked that question on like May 3rd, May 4th, May 5th, and it just got figured out the other day. It took us 2.5 fucking months to deal with M&T to get a simple short sale approved. Like, it should not have taken this fucking long. And like, again, had we not had the means to do what we were doing, we could have been like basically homeless. Like, we were joking that we were homeless in a way because like we just didn't have anywhere to go. Having pit bulls makes it impossible to find somewhere simple to rent. So there's that extra layer of, am I going to sleep in the car with the dogs tonight? So like you and the kids and the cats can have a decent place to stay, or are we going to stay in a shit ass hotel that allows pit bulls and that's somewhat dangerous or possibly dirty? Like a fucking nightmare, because no classy place allows pit bulls, and if they do, they're $500 a night, and no, we don't have that kind of fucking means. So it just was like, we were really skimming by, just trying to just survive. Like, let's just not break open any sheets, don't touch anything. Like, it wasn't any like bloody, dirty crackhead hotels, but they were not the prettiest. And so it was just like, let's just fucking get in and get out. We get to the rental in New York, blow through there, hang out in Rochester for a little bit. So now it's time to come home. So the whole time we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do when we come home. We don't really know what we want to do. We know we want some land. We don't really know where or how. She's going to figure out her new job. And so we're like, why don't we just rent? Like, we hate renting, but like maybe for us, because we keep going in and out of shit, like let's just rent and chill for a little bit. And I was like, that way we can just kind of figure things out. We won't have anything like essentially on our debt to income in a way. That way, when we go to apply for the land, or we want to buy land or buy a house or farm or whatever, like we're kind of in a position to do so. Otherwise, we're gonna buy something we're not super happy with, or be in a weird situation in a shitty house that we have to fix up. Like I was like, fuck all that. I was like, let's just rent. But then comes the problem that you have pit bulls, so it's like, well, where do you rent? So I'm not gonna tell you my address, but like we were at the only place in Carlisle that allows pit bulls. So I mean, like we're really near our old house that we just built. So for anybody that's still nearby, we are still very very close. We're like right off the pike and shit. So yeah, we're still in the area. We are now moved back. We just got moved in. That's why I'm live today. This is my new little office corner in the dining room. But yeah, it has been a whirlwind though. But yeah, so we left New York though. We were coming home, so the whole time we're like, all right, we're probably gonna rent this place here. Um, what are our other options? We're in a townhouse. We wanted to get a house if possible, just because of the dogs. Excuse me. So like we wanted a fence if possible. That was like our only real stipulation. Like we would have dealt with substandard and been able to fix up like parts of the house or whatever. Like that would have been tolerable if I could just let the dogs out in the fence and have them go to the bathroom, because it's such a pain in the ass to put 2 big ass dogs on a harness and walk them out to take a shit. Plus Kane likes to circle for like 30 minutes to take a shit. I'm like, dude, poop. So we are leaving Rochester on the 29th. Our townhouse wasn't going to be ready until the 15th. So we had 16, 17 days where we would have been back in a hotel after just spending 2.5 weeks in a hotel in May. We now would have been in the same hotel essentially, except there's a car show that weekend. So we would have had to been there, leave, come back, and then 2 days before the 15th on the 12th, we would have had to leave because the Jeep or Chrysler or whatever was just in town. So we would have been in and out of that hotel, or we went to this shit ass hotel in New Cumberland. It was busted ass Motel 6 in New Cumberland. And it was like, okay, well, if that's where we got to go, and we're already paying money for a hotel, and we technically aren't paying like a mortgage or rent for that week, like we're kind of rent free. I was like, why don't we just go to the beach? I was like, I know vacation isn't like ideal right now. Because everything's just been such a shit show. We're just trying to get home. And I was like, but really, we're racing home to be stuck in a hotel. Like, you're not even starting your job until like, I think she started on the 8th. So we're coming home that week. Yeah, so that was the other thing. So she would have been in a hotel starting her job from the 8th to the 15th. Like, it was just like, we need to figure out the simplest way to do this. But then I was like, fuck it, let's go to the beach for a couple of days. Like, we didn't get a vacation technically. We've been in cold, shitty, rainy areas. So I somehow convinced her that we should go to the beach, and we did. We left Rochester, drove to Carlisle, emptied out most of our shit from the house that we were renting, packed up just enough to go to the beach, took dogs, kids, cats to Ocean City, Maryland, got a pet friendly hotel, stayed there for a couple of days. Rand came with us. The prices were affordable up until Thursday, which was July 4th, and then prices go fucking insane. So we were like, all right, let's just go down until Thursday. So we left Rochester on Saturday, drove to Carlisle, picked up Rand, picked up some stuff, emptied some stuff, and then drove straight to Ocean City, Maryland, and then got to spend from Saturday to Thursday there. I had previously bought Kaylee tickets right when they went for sale because I've been hawking them for years because she's always wanted to go to a Chris Brown show and he hasn't been on tour in years. The moment that the tickets popped up in like February, March, April, I bought them for July 3rd because I was like, I know her contract ends on the 29th. Had no idea at that point when the next job would start, but she always takes like a week or so off. So I was like, cool, I will. July 3rd, he had a concert in Philly and New Jersey that also would have been driving distance for us. But I was like, no, I'll do July 3rd in DC because it'll be the week that she's off work. Like, that'll just be perfect. Like, that'll line up just right. Now it's in the middle of our beach trip, so we were like, what the fuck do we do here? Thankfully, Rand was with us, so we were going to leave Wednesday afternoon, drive to DC, get some dinner, go to the concert, maybe spend the night, maybe drive back, depending, and then leave Ocean City Thursday morning to head home. And luckily, Rand was like, why don't we just all go to DC Wednesday night? And then that way you guys don't have to come back to Ocean City, Maryland. Like, if we're not even doing anything at the beach on Thursday, you're just coming back to pick up me and the kids and the animals. Let's just go. So thankfully ran out of that. But yes, we got 3 stressful days of beach trip, but it was actually delightful. We all got to chill and have some good beach time and like actually got to relax as a family and just kind of hang out. Which weirdly enough, for 6 months, that was like the first fucking time we were able to do it. Like we had a couple glimpses here and there, but it was just like so much background shit was going on during that. So this beach trip right in the beginning of July was like the first time we got to like chill. So I'm sorry, Taryn. You can rewatch it tomorrow. It'll be there for you. I don't know why these don't pop up when they're coming. I did get NCAA. I did secure full-time housing. I'm not going to regret hunting. I know that for sure. I did get NCAA. I've been waiting to play that. I've been fucking around here in Madden for a little bit, but I've been like today was like the first day that I was like prepared to like sit down. The kids were in bed. Kaylee went to bed. She works tomorrow, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and give everybody an update. So that was something else too. That's kind of like where I'm getting to here was I was like, nobody cares. Like nobody's really like this is a disappointing update. Like I joked around earlier, like this is like losing the Super Bowl, like having to come home and not being able to travel long term like we thought we would. But it really isn't that bad. Like I'm kind of happy to be home. Everything was kind of crazy on the road anyway. But yeah, so I came home that first weekend. We were in the hotel. The boys went to their grandmother's house, went over to Kaylee's mom's house. So I went out to Uber because Kaylee went to bed early one night, and I was like, I'm gonna go Uber. Like I'm up, we're stuck in a hotel. I might as well just go make some money. We're home for the weekend. So I go out Uber one of these nights, and I run into a handful of people that I know. Shout out Kieran, Jamie, Madison, Taylor. Madison Taylor and Taylor. Just a handful of people that I ran into, but one of them that I ran into, Kieran and Jamie, they were like, "Oh, dude, like we followed your story, like we saw it, like we've been waiting for an update." And so it's like little things like that. And I bumped into some other people, like I messaged some people about the Wegmans thing and some people about working at UPS and stuff. And every single time I feel like I've reached out to people lately, everyone's like, "So what's going on? What's going on with the camper? Like, what's the next update?" And so I was like, "All right." It isn't just me wanting to talk about it, but it is some people that actually give a shit and want to know what's going on. So I was like, I guess I'll post an update. And but yeah, so today was like the first day that like I really had we got everything situated, everything moved in, laundry, kids, furniture, like everything's good. TVs are set up, internet's set up, like everything's good to go. So but yeah, so Ocean City, Maryland, shitty hotel, Kieran, Jamie, Maddie, Taylor, Kaylee's new job. So and then like the other finessing, I had to do a little more finessing. Shout out Katarina if you happen to see this. She is the best. We were like, hey, when can we move in? And they were like, Monday morning, the 15th at 9 a.m., you get your keys. And I was like, cool, can't move in earlier? And they were like, nope, that's the earliest. And I was like, all right, sounds good. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon. I asked a million more questions after that about other stuff. Again, thank you, Katarina and Taylor that works there, unrelated to the other Taylor and the Madison Taylor. But so I was like, okay, I was like, this is yet somewhere where like that. Yeah, so she works, so it was questions that I was asking her to deal with. So I was like, when can we move in? Monday morning the 15th, and then so we were just talking about it one day, and that means that we're in the hotel when we get back from July 4th until Monday the 15th. So we've been like 11 days in this shitty ass Super 8 or Motel 6 or whatever the fuck it was in New Cumberland. And so I was just like, I want to get out of here as soon as possible. Too many people were walking around barefoot. I saw a kid climbing in and out of the dumpster barefoot. People not caring for their dogs, like that kind of hotel. And so I just was like, don't touch anything. Get inside, get outside. Like, let's just get the hell in and out. So I was desperate to get out of there. And so thankfully the logic kicked in where I was like, well, okay, well, if we can move in Monday morning at 9 a.m., that means that like they're probably gonna have the place cleaned, right? And they're putting in new flooring for us after the last tenants. So I was like, even if the flooring went in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're going to clean it Thursday, Friday, do their inspection, and then it's going to sit empty Saturday, Sunday. I was like, I know they're not cleaning it Saturday, Sunday. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth. Maybe you guys do your move out cleans at 2 a.m. on Monday mornings, and that's why we can have the keys at 9 a.m. I was like, but I'm pretty certain that that thing's going to be sitting empty. So I reached out and I was like, I really am not trying to be a dick. We're in such a shit hotel. I'm just thinking that the logic would be that if I can have keys Monday at 9 a.m., that means that realistically, like Friday by 4 or 5 p.m., like end of business, you guys should be all done with it. Like your inspections and whatever. I was like, I will move in Friday at 1 a.m. if you'll let me because it means I can get out of this hotel. Thankfully, again, Katarina, you're the best. Took some time. She called me back and was like, how's Friday morning at 9 a.m. sound? And I was like, thank God. So that was like Monday or Tuesday, I think, and of that week. And so we of like the 9th or 10th, so like just 2 weeks ago on Monday. And so we were just like holding our breath, just trying to get through that hotel for 4 more days. Finally got out of there and went right to the townhouse. So we Monday morning they said I could have the keys at 9 a.m. I was in the parking lot at like 8:30 playing Candy Crush on my phone while the boys were sleeping because I didn't want to be in the parking lot waiting. So I like parked on a little side road and was just like, just wait until 9. And as soon as it hit like 9:03, I was like, all right, time to go. I got in there, got keys, and we got all moved in and shit. So yeah, it has been pretty crazy getting settled in there. But yeah, my too long didn't read is just that yeah, camping life just got crazy and it's super expensive and just it could be worth it if I would have had more of a remote job secured, if the boys were a little bit older. Like there were a lot of factors that played into it. And for us, it was really just we built the house, realized well, that's not what we wanted. We knew we shouldn't have built it. We built it, sold it, luckily got back what we sold it, built it for. And then we're just like, well, now what? And that's when I was like, fuck it, let's just go travel. Let's hit the road. Luckily, her friend Casey said, oh, I do that too. It's in an RV. They're still going strong. Good shit, Casey. Wish we could be out there in Utah with you or Nevada. I think you guys are in. But but yeah, so we are officially home. I start work at UPS next Monday. That's why I posted about UPS because I was just like, I needed something basic that I can just get in and get out, make some decent money, and just get everything sorted. Still be able to attend events and stuff for the kids because Kaylee's new schedule is pretty Monday through Friday with a very rare weekend or like on call kind of thing. So this will be the first time she's worked Monday through Friday that I've pretty much ever known her. Like when I started dating her, we were in high school, so she was working at American Eagle, McDonald's, and Kohl's after work or after school and then immediately went into the hospital working 12-hour shifts. So like to have her home for dinner every day is the weirdest shit possible. Like when she works, I'm immediately just like, all right, I'm on my own for dinner. I'm gonna get Chipotle. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. And then she comes walking in at 3:30, and I'm like, fuck, that's right. Like you're home today. We can actually cook meals again. Like this is legit the first time, even with kids and everything, that she's home daily. So it's a huge adjustment for us, but it's so far it's been pretty nice. Like we're just both home now, and so like my schedule I lucked out was supposed to work 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. every day and was like, fuck it, it is what it is. I can handle that better than I can handle like true overnight. Had an issue with like applying and got accidentally locked out. Couldn't get back in. Had to finagle the system a little bit, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't be me. Like locked myself out with my name, my cell phone number, and my email, but not my social security number. Didn't get that far into the application. Locked myself out ahead of that. Called in, they were like, we only deal with shipping products, like don't call us for applications. And I was like, okay, try to call the warehouse, no one answers. So I was like, okay, does anybody I know work at UPS? Everyone I talked to, nobody could help me fix it. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I know I can get this job. If you can breathe, you can have the job, and you wear a pair of steel toe boots, the job's yours. So I was like, I just need to apply to get this job. So I was sitting here the other morning and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna use Kaylee's phone number and her email. And then as soon as I get there day one, be like, hey, that's the wrong information. And when it asks you for my social, I'll use mine. Apply, go right through to the end, boom, you're hired, pick a shift, and it pops up and was like, you want 10 to 4 Monday through Friday? And I could have shit a brick. I was like, that is so fucking perfect, and it matches her schedule, matches the kid's schedule, like, everything. So now homeschooling is still a possibility. Like we're still going to try our best to do that, at least for a year or so. So I need to do some more research on that. Joe technically would be starting kindergarten in like 2 weeks. And so that's where we both had just decided, like, even if we're not doing homeschooling, at least this year, so we have time to get back into a routine, get him into some sports and stuff, teach him what school is going to be expecting. Don't call anybody an asshole. Don't punch anybody. Things that he does to his brother on a daily now, I need to make sure he knows he can't do at school. So yeah, so there's just a whole lot there, but yeah, M&T is a shit show. Members First has been amazing as always. I, being unemployed, had ran into an issue one day where I paid for something out of my account instead of our joint card or whatever, and it caused a fucking whirlwind of fees. And I called Lindsay and was like, "Please fucking help me." And of course, she called right back a couple minutes. I checked in how I was, asked about the camper. We talked about vacations for a little while. And she said, "You got those back. Don't worry about it." It just was like a stupid lapse of me not paying attention. Got gas on the wrong card and then just spiraled out of control. And I just signed in and was like, "Oh my God, someone hacked my account." And then realized that I fucked it up and was like sick to my stomach. And I was like, "Please don't let me fuck myself like that. Like, don't do that." And so yeah, Lindsay got me hooked up. But yeah, so yeah, with all that being said, I'm gonna post something soon about tubing. Shout out Tristan. He does a hell of a job tubing out on the East Shore. That's I'd like to start figuring out some Connor de Gwinnett or Yellow Breeches tubing stuff. It just looks so fun, and his group is so big now. I haven't even been able to make it to an event, but now that I'm home, that's like a priority. I want to get some tubing done. Like I said, hunting and fishing. I reached out to Travis Hench. He's the guy gonna help me out getting set up with some hunting basics. So yeah, just some stuff like that. I just basically now like being back in Carlisle and not having a escape plan of like, let's move south, let's get an RV, let's build. Like the plan is now just rent here until we find enough land that we're happy with and rebuild a house and die there. Like that's just the plan. If for some reason she pops up one day and wants to go to Georgia or Louisiana or South Carolina, you won't see me get a U-Haul faster. But in the meantime, I am just gonna full-fledged, die-hard love Carlisle and be about it day one, A1, as if I've been here the whole time. But yeah, I'm just gonna just own my Carlisle and just rock out with it and just want to be here. So with that being said, like I just want to get re-involved in shit. Like I want to get involved in shit I haven't been involved in before. I want to start hunting. I want to start fishing in the area. I was looking up like that tool shop thing in Carlisle. Like that's not shit that I learned as a kid, and we won't go into detail to that kind of shit. But I didn't learn your most average shit. I learned how to break down big bags and things like that, but not how to hunt and fish and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's all kind of shit that I want to do. But yeah, so I'm probably still gonna be like Ubering Friday, Saturday nights. Definitely still gonna be streaming. I got that all set up. Like I said, I'm playing Madden right now. As soon as this is over, I'm probably gonna bust out some NCAA. So tomorrow night I will probably stream NCAA. I might even do it tomorrow during the day, depending. Um, but yeah, if anybody, Kieran also hooked me up with, I think it was softball or kickball. If anybody else has any shit like that too, like that's the stuff I definitely want to play and like pay attention to. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's yeah. I talked about like doing a podcast, like an official podcast. I'm still bouncing that around and like how to do that and like what kind of schedule to make. And while being on the road, obviously that completely went stalled because there was just no way to do it. But now that I'm back, I fully intend on doing some kind of food review type deal, like at the different places in the area, like a little tour, just whatever. I'm having fun like creating content, and it wasn't fun until people started reaching out and paying attention, and people were talking and asking questions and shit. Like, should have multitasked, my dude. Yeah, dude. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you forget to breathe. That's so funny you say that too. I had to go to the doctor 2 weeks ago. I'm an old man now. I had to get my breathing tested and shit because I have fucking weird chest problems now. Like can't breathe deep some days. And they were like, "Yeah, you either have real severe asthma or it's just stress. Don't be a baby." And I was like, "Okay, cool." That's why I didn't want to come to the doctor in the first place. I knew that you were going to charge me $37,000 to tell me to quit being a pussy. So thanks for the visit. He was actually a really cool doctor, and everything got situated, and it was all cool. But that I like knew that was gonna happen. I was like, I don't have a fucking tumor. I was like, it's just gonna end up being him like stress related or like a pulled muscle or something stupid, and it pretty much was. So yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, but that's it. But yeah, anyway, again, if anybody is in the area doing shit, I'm down to play some sports, play basketball, go golfing. If anybody's playing video games, that's I play with my squad has kind of fizzled away as I've been all over the country and in different time zones and shit. But hoping to get them back together to play some games, especially with the new thread coming, the new handful of games coming out right now. But yeah, if anybody's on and wants to play other shit or do stuff, that's it. We're home now. We are in Carlisle. We are here full time. We both have normal work schedules, Monday through Friday, daylight hours. So yeah, we are finally at a point where it's not just me with the kids most nights, so I have to do everything alone. Like, she's here, she's available now, so like, yeah, we are fully intended on being out and about as much as possible and getting the kids out. Again, for me, like, she's kind of 50-50 on the homeschool thing. I am like 100% for it, so like, I want to get them out as much as possible and socialize and make the friends that even if they do go to school at some point, they'll know the kids because they're in the same sport or whatever. So but yeah, so I reached out to some of you guys, some of the other moms and stuff for like play dates and shit like that. So I will definitely follow back up. I have a list here of the people that I talked to last time, but I will definitely be reaching back out. So I think that is about it. Um, yeah, I think I hit everything on here. Yeah, that's about it. Cooking and stuff, we're gonna start doing like a lot more like farmers market type deals. So if anybody has any of those recommendations, I'm gonna post that in like the Carlisle Mechanicsburg group. So I've been hitting Route 174. That was the one that I've hit a couple times, but always interested in other ones. That way we can stop shopping at like giant ass grocery stores if possible. Yeah, I think that's about it. It has been a shit show, but yeah, it's home now, so I'm hoping to post more. So I had fun. I'm having fun creating it whenever people are looking for it, and that just makes it a lot more fun and entertaining. So Rain and I bounced around a few podcast ideas. I have a few of my own. We talked about doing like a food review page, a weed review page. That's so many different things. So I will be around, but as of right now, my gaming page is still set up. So I'm definitely gonna start streaming some of that, just a couple of nights a week, especially with the new NCAA. But yeah, on my page is the link as always. Tools. That link right there gets you to everything. I'm gonna post this. I can't post it on TikTok because I ranted for an hour. I told myself I'd keep this into 10 minutes, and that was wild. I ended up ranting about M&T for a good 20 minutes, and I knew I should have done that. Yeah, so it won't be on TikTok or anything, but it'll. As I post more shit, so I have a ton of pictures and videos and all kinds of fun shit that we did while we were out, and just haven't really. Oh, I fucking missed that. And just haven't really like got a chance to post it or anything. So I'm gonna start working through that now. I got my desk and everything, dude. I am always fucking down to camp with somebody else, and I don't have to take care of the camper. That's my new rule. If I don't gotta take care of the camper or the boat, I am fucking there. I'll bring burgers, hot dogs, beers, buds, whatever you want. Just as long as I don't gotta take care of shit, I'm cool with that. All right. Well, before I end the stream, I'm gonna throw a 75-yard touchdown here real quick just to end this game. Bang, 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 bang. He's not gonna be open. Yes, he is. You better run that fucking. Oh my god. All right. Well, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go play overtime, and then I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow night for NCAA. Don't leave me hanging. Yeah, that's it. See you guys later. Have a good night. Have a good Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week.